The wind howled across the empty mining colony on planet Vora 9. Gray clouds covered the sky, and the sun was only a pale light behind the dust. The place was quiet, too quiet, except for the soft hum of machines keeping the air warm and clean. Ethan Cole sat alone inside his small metal shelter. The heater clicked every few seconds, fighting against the cold. His coffee was already cold, too, untouched for hours. He stared at the holoscreen on his wall, a screen full of empty messages, unread news, and one small glowing icon that said, Companion Program, Open Now. Ethan was 32, a maintenance worker for the outer mining stations. He hadn't spoken to another real person in almost 4 months. The miners who worked here usually came and went, but Ethan stayed. It was cheap, quiet, and away from everything. Away from Earth. Away from people. Sometimes he told himself he liked the silence. But when night came and the stars shined cold and far away, the silence felt heavy, almost painful. That night, the loneliness was too much. He opened the glowing icon. The hologram flickered, showing a smiling company logo. Mail order companion service, bringing warmth across the stars. He hesitated. It sounded ridiculous. Ordering a bride from a company? But the program was popular among remote workers like him. Some got robotic companions. Others hired people through digital contracts. Ethan scrolled through the options. Human models were expensive. Android ones were cheaper, but too fake. He sighed, then noticed a small tab at the bottom. Special Program. Organic Exchange Partners. Beta. It was marked with a warning. Participants may include hybrid or non-human life forms. Limited guarantee on compatibility. Ethan laughed softly. Non-human life forms? What does that even mean? Still, curiosity pulled him in. The price was half what a human companion cost. He clicked order. The system asked for preferences. Height? He typed average. Personality? He chose calm-friendly. Body type. He shrugged and clicked human standard. Finally, the screen asked, do you accept full responsibility for biological differences and behavioral unpredictability? He stared at the words for a long moment, then pressed yes. The system replied with a soft tone. Thank you, Ethan Cole. Your companion is on her way. Arrival in 72 hours. For the first time in months, Ethan smiled. Maybe it would be nice, just having someone to talk to. 3 days later, a strange signal appeared on his radar. A ship, small, old, and not in any company registry, that was entering the atmosphere. The landing coordinates matched his order confirmation. Ethan ran outside, pulling on his cold weather suit. The wind pushed against him as he climbed the icy ridge behind his shelter. Then he saw it. A silver ship cutting through the clouds, its engines roaring like thunder. It landed hard, shaking the ground. Dust and steam filled the air. The cargo door hissed open. Ethan's heart beat faster. He tried to fix his hair, brushing the dust from his jacket. Okay, he whispered, just act normal. A tall figure appeared inside the mist. At first he thought it was a shadow, too big to be human. Then it stepped forward. His eyes widened. The figure was a woman, or at least something like one. She was massive, nearly twice his height, with strong arms and dark silver skin that shimmered under the pale light. Her hair looked like molten metal flowing down her back. Her eyes, deep gold, glowed faintly, watching him closely. Ethan froze. Hello? The alien woman tilted her head. Her voice came through the translation device on her chest. Low, calm, and strange. You are Ethan Cole, the one who summoned me. Ethan blinked. Summoned? I joined the companion program. You're from the company, right? She looked confused. Company? Her golden eyes narrowed. You mean the Humans Trade Network? Yes, Ethan said quickly. You're my, assigned companion? Her lips curved slightly like a half smile. Companion, yes, that is one word for it. Before Ethan could ask more, she stepped down the ramp. The ground shook slightly under her feet. She was wearing armor, not clothes, armor made from some kind of crystal metal. And on her back was a blade almost as tall as Ethan himself. Wait, why do you have a sword? He asked, stepping back. She stopped and looked at him with a calm expression. Protection. This planet is not safe, Ethan frowned. What do you mean? There's no one here. Her golden eyes turned toward the dark mountains in the distance. The wind howled again. You are wrong, human. Something lives beneath the ice. Ethan tried to laugh it off, but her serious tone made his stomach twist. "You're joking, right?" She didn't answer. Instead, she turned to face him fully and placed one large hand on his shoulder. Her touch was warm, almost burning through his suit. "You called me here," she said softly. "That means you belong to me now." Ethan stepped back, startled. "Wait, belong to you?" That's not how this works." But she didn't move. She looked at him for a long time, her golden eyes deep and unreadable. Then she said one last thing before walking past him toward his dome. "If you want to live through this night, stay close to me." The wind grew louder. The ship's lights flickered behind her. Far away, something moved under the ice, a dark shape gliding beneath the surface, watching them both. Ethan's heart pounded. He had ordered a mail-order bride, but what stepped off that ship wasn't human, and something out there was waiting for them. The night came early on planet Vora 9. The sky turned dark purple, and snow began to fall in thin, glowing flakes. The mining lights blinked across the valley like distant stars. Inside the small metal dome, Ethan tried to calm his breathing, but the alien woman sitting across from him made that impossible. She was quiet, still like a statue, her golden eyes watching the storm outside through the dome's glass wall. The firelight reflected off her armor, casting soft gold and silver patterns on the walls. Ethan cleared his throat. "So, what's your name?" The woman turned slowly. "Karai," she said in that low, steady voice that made the air feel heavier. "Daughter of the Titan clan, Karai," Ethan repeated, trying to say it right. "Nice name." He smiled nervously. "I'm Ethan, you probably already know that." She nodded once. "Yes, the contract said your name." He blinked. "Contract?" Her golden eyes flickered. "The binding between worlds. The one that brought me here." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "Yeah, about that. I think there's been a mix-up. I ordered a human companion, not—" He stopped himself before saying giant alien warrior. "Not someone like you." Karai tilted her head, a faint smirk crossing her lips. "You wanted someone small, easy to command." Ethan looked away. "No, I didn't expect this." She stood up. The air seemed to hum as her armor shifted and tightened along her body. She was tall enough that her head almost brushed the dome's ceiling. "I was not sent here to please you," she said, voice cold but calm. "I was sent here because you are in danger." Ethan blinked. "Danger? From what?" "I'm just a maintenance worker." Karai turned toward the window again. "Something lives under the ice. It followed my ship." Ethan frowned. "Look, I've been on this planet for 2 years. There's nothing under the ice. Just rockin'." A low rumble shook the floor. The coffee mug on the table slid and fell, shattering. Ethan froze. "What was that?" Karai didn't answer. She picked up her blade from the corner, a massive curved weapon that shimmered like blue glass. The edge glowed faintly as if it was alive. "Stay inside," she ordered. Before Ethan could stop her, she opened the airlock and stepped out into the freezing wind. The door slammed shut behind her. Ethan ran to the window. Through the blowing snow he saw her, a giant shadow moving with inhuman grace. The blade in her hand shone like lightning as she scanned the frozen ground. For a moment the night was silent again. Then the ground cracked. A dark shape burst from beneath the ice, on fast and massive. Ethan couldn't see it clearly, but he saw its eyes. 2 red lights glowing in the dark. Karai swung her weapon in one clean motion. The thing screamed, a high metallic sound, then vanished under the ice again. The ground stopped shaking. Ethan's heart raced as Karai returned, her armor steaming from the cold. She didn't look scared, but her golden eyes were sharper now, alert, focused. "What was that?" Ethan asked. Karai cleaned her blade and placed it down carefully. "A hunter drone, but not human-made." He frowned. "Then who made it?" She looked at him silently for a long moment. "My people call them the Vorn, ancient machines. They follow energy signatures. And life." Ethan laughed nervously. "You're telling me there are killer robots under the ice?" Karai's face stayed calm. "Not robots, predators. They were buried long ago. But when I landed, I woke them." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "This can't be real." Karai sat down again, watching him. Her voice softened. "You humans think you are alone out here. You are not." He looked up at her, confused. "Then why come here?" "Why, me?" Karai hesitated, then said quietly, Because I was told to protect you. Ethan blinked. Protect me by who? Her golden eyes flickered again. By someone who believes you are more important than you think. Before he could ask what that meant, the lights inside the dome flickered once, then again. The heater shut down. Everything went dark except the red glow from Karai's armor. Ethan's voice trembled. Power's gone. Karai stood instantly, scanning the ceiling. They are close again. They drain your machines. Who? The Vorn? She nodded. They hunt by sound and heat. Stay quiet. Ethan's heart pounded as she moved to the door again. The dome shook. Softly, he could hear something scraping outside, like claws against metal. Karai whispered, Don't move. Suddenly, a metal tentacle pierced the glass wall, inches from Ethan's face. He fell back, gasping. Karai grabbed her blade, sliced it clean off, and the creature screamed again, a sound like tearing metal. The dome trembled, cracks spreading across the glass. Karai looked back at Ethan. We must leave, now. But my supplies, leave them, she shouted. If we stay, we die. She pulled open the back hatch and grabbed his arm with surprising gentleness. Her touch was hot, almost burning through his sleeve. Together they stepped into the storm, snow whipping across their faces. Behind them, the dome cracked open completely, and something huge crawled out of the ice. Its eyes glowed red through the fog. Following them as they disappeared into the storm, Ethan stumbled beside her, barely keeping up. What are we running from? Karai didn't slow down. Her voice was steady. Not what, who? He looked up at her. Then tell me who you really are. Karai's eyes glowed faintly in the snowlight. The truth will come soon, human. But you must live to hear it. The wind howled. The night swallowed them both. The storm had not stopped for 2 days. The wind screamed across the empty valley, carrying dust and shards of ice like knives. In the middle of that endless white, 2 small figures moved slowly. One human, one giant. Ethan's oxygen mask fogged with every breath. His boots crunched through the snow while Karai walked beside him, calm and unshaken. Her armor glowed faintly in the dark, guiding their path like a small star in the blizzard. Where are we going? Ethan shouted through the wind. Karai didn't turn. There's an old station east of here. If it still stands, we can take shelter. Ethan nodded weakly. His legs ached, his face numb from the cold. But when he looked at her, walking tall and silent, he found strength to keep moving. She never seemed tired. Her every step was steady, powerful. He wondered what kind of world she came from, where beings like her were born. After hours of walking, they reached a ridge. Below it lay the remains of an abandoned outpost, broken towers half buried in ice. Karai studied it carefully. We rest there, she said. Inside, the outpost was dark and silent. Rusted machines covered in frost lined the walls. Ethan brushed snow from a console and tried to power it up, but it only sparked. Karai stood guard at the entrance, scanning the frozen horizon. Ethan finally spoke, breaking the silence. You said those things, the Vorn, they were hunting you. Why? Karai's golden eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Because I was one of them once, Ethan froze. You mean, you're a machine? No, she said softly. I was made to destroy them. My kind was created by the Titans, warriors built from flesh and light. But the Vorn turned on us. They wanted to wipe out all organic life. She looked down, her expression unreadable. I left my home world to stop them. But the war followed me here. Ethan tried to understand. So you're fighting them alone? I was not meant to be alone, she whispered. But the others never arrived. Her words hung heavy in the air. For the first time, Ethan saw something in her eyes. Not just strength, but sadness. Before he could reply, the ground shook violently. The walls rattled. A deep metallic growl echoed through the tunnels below. Karai turned instantly, her hand gripping her glowing blade. They found us. Ethan's heart raced. How? We've been moving for days. They follow energy, she said. And you carry a beacon in your blood. What? Ethan stepped back. I don't, but then he remembered. The medical check he took when joining the mining company. The injection for tracking health data. A small implant in his blood that sent constant signals to the base. Karai's eyes hardened. They can trace that signal. You must remove it, Ethan panicked. Remove it? How? She grabbed his arm gently but firmly. Hold still. Before he could argue, she pressed a glowing tool to his wrist. There was a sharp sting and he winced. A small silver chip popped out, sizzling on the floor. Karai crushed it under her boot. The growling grew louder. The walls cracked. Ethan looked toward the tunnel. "They're coming!" Karai pushed him back. "Stay behind me." The first Vorn burst through the ice floor, a massive creature of metal and bone, its body made of black wires and sharp limbs. Its eyes glowed crimson, scanning the room. Then it screamed, a terrible echoing sound that shook the air. Karai charged forward. Her blade sliced through the fog, glowing blue as it met the creature's claws. Sparks exploded. The sound was deafening, metal against energy. Ethan ducked behind a broken console, watching in awe. She moved like lightning, every strike fast and perfect. The Vorn was stronger, but Karai was faster. Still, for every strike she landed, another Vorn crawled up from below. "There's more of them," Ethan shouted. Karai kicked one creature away and yelled, "Run to the roof!" Ethan climbed the broken stairs, slipping on the ice. Below him, Karai fought like a storm. Her armor cracked, her blade glowing brighter with every hit. But there were too many. One Vorn leapt at her back. Ethan grabbed a metal rod and threw it down. It hit the creature's head, giving Karai a second to turn and slice it in half. She looked up at him for a moment. Their eyes met. And in that moment, Ethan realized something strange. He wasn't afraid anymore. "Come on," he shouted. "We can make it out." Karai jumped, landing beside him on the roof in one powerful leap. Below, the creatures screamed, clawing at the walls. From the ridge, Ethan saw the mining valley, glowing faintly with energy from the machines he'd left behind. Karai followed his gaze. "We can lead them there," she said. "Overload the power core." "You mean blow it up?" Ethan asked. She nodded. "Yes, it will destroy them, and maybe this storm." He looked down at the valley again, then back at her. "If we do that, we might die." Karai looked at him calmly. "Better to die fighting than running." Ethan's breath came out in a white cloud. He nodded. "Then let's finish this." As they moved across the frozen plain, the Vorn followed, dark shadows gliding beneath the ice. Karai's armor flickered. Her blade dimmed. Ethan saw exhaustion in her movements for the first time. She wasn't a machine, she was bleeding. "Karai, you're hurt." She didn't stop. "Keep moving, human." "The hunt ends tonight." The wind howled louder. The ground cracked behind them. The Vorn rose again, and dozens of them. Ethan looked up at her, terrified yet determined. "Tell me what to do." Karai's voice was soft but fierce. "Do not fear the dark. Make it fear you." They reached the power station. Karai pressed her hand to the control panel. The core began to hum, glowing white-hot. The Vorn were closing in fast. Ethan grabbed a wrench and stood beside her, shaking but ready. "You're not alone anymore." Karai looked at him, and for the first time she smiled. "No, I am not." The ground split open as the Vorn swarmed toward them. The power core flashed once, and everything went white. The silence after the explosion was louder than the blast itself. Ash and snow fell together from the sky like gray rain. The storm had stopped, but so had everything else. Ethan woke up face down in the ice. His ears rang. His chest burned with every breath. For a moment, he couldn't remember who he was or where he was. Then it came back. The power core, the Vorn, the flash of light. He coughed and sat up. The valley that once held the mining station was gone. In its place was a crater of glass and frozen fire. "Karai!" he shouted. His voice echoed, swallowed by the cold. No answer. He pulled himself up, limping through the shattered snow. His hands shook from pain and fear. "Karai, where are you?" Then through the mist he saw a figure, tall, broken but standing. Her armor was cracked and dim, her blade half melted. Yet Karai still stood like a monument carved from silver and light. Ethan stumbled toward her. "You're alive." She looked down at him, her golden eyes faint but burning. "Barely," she said softly. The blast destroyed the Vorn nest, but it also woke others. Ethan's stomach dropped. "Others?" Karai nodded. "They were buried deeper. Now they will come." Ethan stared at the horizon, dark shapes moving under the distant ice like shadows beneath water. He sighed. "We can't fight them alone." Karai's gaze turned to him. "Then we don't." They found shelter in a half-destroyed tunnel beneath the crater. The metal walls glowed faintly from heat, giving off weak warmth. Ethan sat near a broken generator, wrapping a torn blanket around himself. Karai knelt nearby, repairing her armor with a glowing tool. Every now and then she winced, proof that even her kind felt pain. Ethan watched quietly. "You should rest." "I don't need rest," she said, her voice calm. "Right," Ethan said, smiling tiredly. "Because you're half machine, half goddess, and I'm just a guy who fixes pipes." Karai paused her work and looked at him. "You are more than that, Ethan Cole." He frowned. "What does that mean?" She hesitated, then said quietly, "Before I was sent here, I was given your name, your file, your blood code." "My what?" "Your DNA," she said. "It matches something ancient, something from before human memory. You were chosen because your blood carries a signal, a piece of what the Titans lost." Ethan stared at her, speechless. "You're saying I'm special?" Karai shook her head. "Not special, connected." He let out a short laugh. "That's the nicest way anyone's ever told me I'm a walking science project." But her expression didn't change. "The Vorn know who you are. They will not stop." Ethan's smile faded. "Then we need help." Karai's eyes narrowed slightly. "Human help?" "Yeah," he said. "I can send a signal. There's a comms relay a few kilometers north. Old mining outpost. If I can reach it, I can contact the rescue fleet." Karai considered it for a long moment. "If you call them, they will come. But they will not trust me." Ethan looked at her, his face serious. "Then they'll have to." The walk to the outpost was silent. Snow fell again, gentle this time. The storm had lost its teeth, but the air was still sharp enough to cut. Karai walked ahead, scanning every shadow. Ethan followed, his thoughts spinning. What was this signal in his blood? Why him? And why did she seem to care? He wanted to ask, but the words caught in his throat. Every time he looked at her, tall, calm, glowing against the dark, and he felt something strange. Not fear, not attraction exactly. Something deeper. Like he was standing next to something ancient and kind. When they reached the relay tower, Ethan climbed up the frozen ladder and started the transmitter manually. Sparks flew as he reconnected the circuits. "Come on. Just work once," he muttered. Finally, the console lit up. A weak tone buzzed through the speaker. He sent a distress code and waited. Minutes passed. Nothing. Then a voice crackled through the static. "Station 49? Identify yourself." Ethan's heart jumped. "This is Ethan Cole, mining engineer." "I'm alive." "Requesting rescue," static hissed. Then another voice came. Calm, clipped, military. "Copy that, Cole. We tracked the explosion. Sending a dropship to your location. ETA 20 minutes, he smiled. "You hear that?" He called down to Karai. "We're saved." But Karai didn't look happy. She was staring at the sky. "What's wrong?" he asked. "The humans," she said slowly. "They will not understand what I am." Ethan climbed down. "Then I'll explain." "No," she said quietly. "You don't know your people. When they see me, they will shoot first." Ethan shook his head. "No, they'll listen." Karai looked at him, her eyes soft but sad. "I have seen many humans, Ethan Cole. You are not like them." The sound of engines echoed in the distance and growing louder. Ethan looked up at the descending ship, its bright lights cutting through the snow. He turned to Karai. "Stay close to me. I'll handle it." Karai's hand hovered near her weapon. "If they aim their guns," "And they won't," Ethan said. "I promise." The ship landed with a hiss. Human soldiers stepped out in white armor, rifles raised. The commander shouted, "Identify that alien now." Ethan stood between them and Karai. "She's with me. She saved my life." The commander didn't lower his weapon. "That thing. She's Titan class. Her kind destroyed 3 colonies last year." Karai tensed. The snow around her feet began to melt from the heat of her armor. "Ethan," she said softly, "you should step aside." He looked back at her, eyes wide. "No. Step aside or you will die with me." He shook his head. "Then I guess I die." The soldiers' weapons charged with a rising hum. The commander yelled, "Fire!" The sound exploded through the valley, flashes of red light cutting the snow. Karai leapt forward, pushing Ethan down. Energy bolts hit her armor and flared. One broke through, striking her side. She staggered, glowing blood splattering across the ice. "Karai!" Ethan screamed. She turned, eyes flickering weakly. "Do not." "Let them take me." And then she fell, the ground shaking beneath her as she hit the snow. The soldiers advanced. Ethan grabbed her blade, standing between them and her fallen body. "You'll have to go through me first," he said, voice shaking, but steady. The soldiers hesitated. Behind them, the commander frowned and raised his hand, but before he could speak, the ground under their boots cracked, and from the crater, a deep rumble rose again. Something huge was waking beneath the ice. The ice cracked beneath their feet like breaking glass. The soldiers froze, turning their guns toward the sound. Ethan's breath came in white bursts as the ground trembled again. Deep, heavy, alive. "Hold position," the commander barked. But his voice shook too. The tremor grew stronger, and Karai, lying wounded in the snow, slowly opened her golden eyes. Ethan knelt beside her. "Don't move," he whispered. "You're bleeding." Her hand, shaking but strong, grabbed his wrist. "No, not blood. Energy. My core is breaking." He saw the glowing light leaking from the crack in her armor, bright and fading fast. The commander shouted again, "Step away from the alien." "That's an order." Ethan looked up at the soldiers. Their white armor reflected the soft blue glow of Karai's dying light. Behind them, the dropship's engines hummed, ready to escape if things went wrong. He stood slowly, raising his hands. "She's not the enemy." "You don't understand. We understand perfectly," the commander interrupted. "That thing's a Titan. Her kind wiped out outposts on New Terra, burned 2 moons, and killed thousands. You want to defend that?" Ethan shook his head. "You're wrong. She's fighting to protect us. She saved my life." The commander took a step forward. His visor glowed red as he said coldly, "You've been compromised. Stand down, Cole." Ethan clenched his fists. "Compromised? You mean human?" The commander's tone darkened. "You're talking to a soldier, not a friend. Move aside." But Ethan didn't. Behind him, Karai was trying to stand, her voice weak but steady. "You call me a monster, but it was your ships that fired first." The soldiers hesitated, exchanging glances. One whispered, "Sir, what is she talking about?" The commander ignored him. "Open fire!" Ethan spun around and shouted, "No!" The world erupted. Blaster bolts ripped through the air. Karai's armor flared as she stepped in front of Ethan, shielding him. The impact threw her backward into the snow. "Stop it!" Ethan screamed. "She's not attacking!" But the soldiers didn't listen. The commander shouted again, "Finish it!" Ethan ran toward Karai, dropping beside her. She was breathing hard, glowing blood staining the ice. Her eyes found his. "You must go," she whispered. "I'm not leaving you." He shouted. Karai's voice trembled. "You can't save me, Ethan, but you can save the truth." "The truth?" he asked. She placed her hand on his chest, right over his heart. "They fear what you are. The signal in your blood. It is a key. The Vorn hunt it. The humans hide it." Ethan stared at her in disbelief. "You're saying they know?" She nodded weakly. "They used you? The mail order program was not a mistake. It was a trap to lure me here." Ethan's mind went blank. His breath froze in his throat. He looked back at the soldiers, their weapons still aimed, their faces hidden behind helmets. "You sent the signal," he said quietly, realization dawning. "You wanted her dead." The commander didn't deny it. "She's a weapon, Cole, dangerous, unpredictable. If she bonds with you, it could trigger another Titan war." Ethan's anger boiled over. "You lied to me? You used me." The commander raised his rifle again. "Stand down or I'll put you down too." Karai struggled to sit up, bloodlight dripping from her side. "Ethan, they cannot know. The Vorn will come for them next." He turned to her, voice breaking. "What do I do?" She smiled faintly, weak but proud. "Do what humans do best. Survive." Then she pushed him back just as the commander fired again. The blast hit her square in the chest. The ground shook. A low hum filled the air, deep and rising. Karai's core, the glowing light in her chest, began to pulse brighter and brighter. Ethan stumbled backward, covering his face from the glare. "Karai, what are you doing?" Her voice echoed through the snow, strong one last time. "If I fall, they fall with me." The light exploded outward in a wave of blue energy. The soldiers screamed as their weapons melted. The dropship's system sparked and died. Ice shattered for miles around. Ethan dropped to the ground, ears ringing, vision white. When the light faded, the valley was silent again. The soldiers were gone, their armor scattered across the snow like ash. Only Karai remained, lying still at the center of the crater. Her golden eyes were dark, Ethan crawled to her, shaking. No, no, no. He touched her face, warm but fading. Don't leave me, he whispered. Not like this. Her lips moved slightly. He leaned closer. Not gone, she breathed. Only sleeping. Then her light dimmed completely. Ethan sat there in the snow, the wind beginning to howl again. Around him, silence and death. He looked at the horizon and saw distant red lights glowing beneath the ice once more. The Vorn were still alive, and now they were coming for him. He clenched Karai's blade in his hands, his voice low but fierce. You wanted a war. Now you'll get one. The world was quiet again. Too quiet. Ethan opened his eyes to pale light filtering through the fog. The crater around him looked like the skeleton of a dying world. Metal shards, frozen fire, and silence. Karai's body lay beside him, motionless, her silver armor cracked open like glass. The blue light that once glowed inside her chest was gone. Only a faint shimmer remained, a whisper of life refusing to die. Ethan sat up slowly. Every muscle hurt. Every breath burned. The human soldiers were gone, vaporized by Karai's final blast. Only their melted weapons and footprints frozen in glass remained. For a long time, he just stared at her. His voice came out small and broken. Why'd you save me, Karai? When I couldn't save you? The wind answered with silence. Then, somewhere deep inside the crater, a faint tone echoed. Electronic, repeating. Beep, beep, beep. Ethan turned toward the sound. One of the soldiers' helmets was still intact, its comm link blinking red. He picked it up and brushed away the frost. The screen flickered, showing a transmission log. His heart skipped when he saw the sender. Command Center, Earth Military Council. He played the message. A man's voice spoke. Cold, controlled. Familiar. If Titan Unit K9 attempts contact with the subject, eliminate both. The human Ethan Cole carries genetic code marked as signal source. Containment priority absolute. No survivors. Ethan's grip tightened. His knuckles turned white. The static voice continued. Repeat, Titan and human are not to unite. If bonding occurs, potential awakening of Titan Core Sequence 01. The transmission ended. Ethan stared at the frozen screen. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. They knew, he whispered. They knew everything. Karai's words came rushing back. They used you. They feared what you are. He turned toward her again. Her eyes were still closed, her face peaceful, almost human now under the cracked armor. He reached out and touched her hand. It was cold, but not lifeless, Karai, he said quietly. You said the truth would find me. I think I just found it. He built a small fire using the remains of the soldiers' gear. As the flames grew, he opened one of their data pads and began digging through encrypted files. It took hours, but Karai had taught him enough about Titan tech to bypass human firewalls. When the screen finally unlocked, his breath caught. Project Titan Order, File 19A, classified. The first page showed two faces side by side, Karai and Ethan Cole, under each name, linked by signal. Ethan scrolled down, reading the text out loud. Subject Cole's DNA contains remnants of Titan signal codes left from pre-war contact. Subject Karai of Titan Clan was dispatched under mail order program disguise to locate, bind, and extract source energy. Human recovery team ordered to terminate post-contact. He stopped reading. His eyes burned with anger. They sent her here to kill me, then kill her. But then he saw a final note written by someone else, hidden between lines of code. If you read this, Ethan Cole, know this. The Titans didn't come to destroy humanity. They came to save it from the Vorn and from itself. There was no signature. Just a single symbol, a glowing circle with two lines crossing it. Ethan stared at it for a long moment. Who wrote this? He muttered. Behind him, a faint hum broke the silence. He turned. Karai's chest glowed, softly, weakly. The same blue light flickered again inside her armor. Ethan dropped the tablet and rushed to her side. Karai, hey! You're still here. Her voice was faint, distant, almost like a whisper in his mind. Ethan, you found it. He froze. Her lips hadn't moved. The voice was inside his head. Our minds are linked now, she said softly. My body sleeps, but my core lives in you. Ethan pressed his hands against her chest plate, tears mixing with the cold wind. I can save you. I'll find a way. No, her voice said gently. You cannot repair what I am, but you can finish what we started. He looked down at her still body. Finish what, a war? No, she whispered. The truth. The humans lied to both our kinds. The Vorn were born from human machines, old war drones. My people tried to stop them, and humanity attacked us instead. Ethan felt the words like knives. So this was our fault. It doesn't matter who started it, she said. Only who ends it, he clenched his jaw. Then we end it together. Her voice grew softer. You are more human than most, Ethan Cole, and that makes you dangerous to them, he smiled faintly. Good. Hours later, the horizon glowed faintly. Not sunrise, but light from engines. A new fleet was arriving. Hundreds of ships, human ones, descending through the clouds. Ethan stood at the edge of the crater, Karai's blade in his hand. He could see their lights, hear their distant engines. Reinforcements, he said quietly. They're coming to finish what they started. Karai's voice echoed in his mind once more. Then show them what they created. He looked down at the blade. The blue light within it pulsed once and then flowed into his skin. His veins glowed faintly, the Titan energy merging with the signal in his blood. Ethan gasped. His heartbeat echoed like thunder in his chest. He could feel her power, her memories, her strength, her rage. He raised his head, eyes glowing gold. Karai, he said softly. You're not gone. You're part of me now. Above him, the sky darkened as the human fleet spread across the horizon. He looked up at them, voice calm, but filled with fire. You wanted a weapon. Now you'll see what one looks like. The wind picked up, swirling around him. The ground beneath his boots cracked, light seeping through the ice. Karai's whisper came one last time. Awaken, Titan of Earth. The crater burst with light, and the human fleet above began to tremble. The sky was burning, not with fire, but with light. Dozens of human warships hung above planet Vora 9, their engines glowing like red stars. From below, the snow reflected their glow, turning the frozen valley into a sea of blood-colored glass. Ethan Cole stood alone in that light. The crater stretched behind him, a scar on the world. Karai's broken armor rested in the snow, silent, sacred, while her voice still echoed in his mind. Do not fear what you have become. Fear only what you will do next. He looked up at the ships and clenched his fists. The Titan energy inside him pulsed, golden veins glowing through his skin like fire trapped under glass. He could feel her heartbeat mixing with his own. 2 lives, 1 pulse. Karai, he whispered. If you're still with me, don't let me lose control. You are in control, her voice answered gently. You always were. A voice cracked through the comm link. The same commander's tone as before, cold and full of fear. Ethan Cole, this is Fleet Command. You are ordered to surrender immediately. Step away from the Titan remains. You are infected with alien code. Ethan stared at the sky. No, he said softly. I'm upgraded. He raised Karai's blade. The weapon hummed, alive, bright blue, feeding off the energy in his blood. Then the fleet opened fire. Light filled the air. Missiles, beams, plasma bolts raining down like a storm of suns. The ground exploded around him, fire and ice mixing in chaos. Ethan didn't run. He raised the blade, and the air itself bent. A shockwave burst from his body, swallowing the fire and sending it spiraling back toward the sky. Ships exploded one by one like dying stars. Inside his mind, Karai's voice urged him calm and steady. Remember who you fight for, Ethan, not revenge. Balance, he gritted his teeth. They killed you. No, they killed trust. But we can rebuild it after. More ships descended, deploying mechanical soldiers that hit the ground like comets. Dozens of human drones marched through the snow, weapons aimed at him. Ethan stood firm. The blade pulsed in his hand, growing longer, brighter. When they fired, he moved. To the human eyes watching from orbit, the battle looked impossible. A single man moving faster than sight. A streak of blue and gold cutting through steel and fire. The machines fell one by one, their power cores sliced open. Every explosion echoed across the valley. Ethan didn't tire. He didn't breathe. He burned, but deep inside his mind, Karai's voice began to fade. Your body cannot hold Titan energy for long. He stumbled, panting. Then tell me how to stop it. You can't. You can only choose what it takes with you. He looked up. The largest ship was descending now. The flagship of Earth Command, its shadow covering the valley. He could see the glowing symbol of the Council, the same one from the classified files. The ones who used him, the ones who lied. His anger rose like a storm, but Karai's voice held him steady. Ethan, remember, they fear what they don't understand. Show them why they should learn, not why they should burn. He took a deep breath, snow melting under his feet. Then let's teach them. The flagship's main cannon charged, a beam powerful enough to erase the entire region. Ethan planted the blade in the ground. The ice cracked, glowing with gold light. Karai's energy surged through him, her spirit fusing completely with his own. He felt her hand on his shoulder, not real but there. Together, she whispered. Together, he replied. The cannon fired. Ethan raised both hands, screaming as light erupted from his body. The golden energy collided with the beam, twisting it upward into the sky. The explosion that followed could be seen from orbit. Not destruction, but transformation. When the light cleared, the flagship was gone, and in its place, hovering silently above the planet, floated a massive golden sphere of pure energy. Inside it, Ethan stood at the center, eyes glowing bright as suns. His voice echoed through every comm channel, every frequency, every ship. You wanted to control Titans. You wanted to erase them. But you forgot one thing. We are what you made us. The soldiers in orbit listened in silence. No one fired. No one moved. I am not your enemy, he said. I am your mirror. Then the golden sphere began to fade, breaking apart into thousands of small lights that drifted down like stars. As the light touched the snow, something incredible happened. The ice melted, revealing green soil beneath. For the first time in centuries, planet Vora 9 breathed again. Karai's voice returned one last time, soft as wind. You did it, Ethan. You changed the ending. He smiled, falling to his knees. Not the ending, the beginning. When the human fleet finally landed, they found no weapon, no body, and only Karai's broken armor, standing upright in the center of a field of glowing plants. And in the middle of that armor, a faint blue light still pulsed, steady and alive. A voice message played on loop from the comm beacon nearby. This world is free. Don't make the same mistake twice. Ethan Cole, Titan of Earth. The soldiers stared in silence as snow began to fall again. Soft and peaceful this time. Far above the clouds, a single star blinked, golden and calm, watching, waiting, the end.